Hello, welcome back to Her Happy Mind. My name is Victoria, and I'm using my master's in positive psychology to show you that happiness isn't just luck, it's science. And on today's episode, we're going to be diving deep into the power of human connection. And so there was a stat that I saw, and it said that loneliness is as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15 cigarettes a day. Okay, that's like insane. And so when I read that, I kind of just thought, like, whoa, like having friends, having real connections, relationships isn't just like a fun thing to have. It's kind of like you need it. It's like a survival asset for you to have. So I know in my recent times when I'm going through these little valleys in my life, it's never just like, oh, I need like a month off watching Netflix, or I just needed like time alone. Yes, there's time for time alone, but it's always like, okay, your girlfriend's inviting you out or your sister talking to you. It's always these like moments with another human being that really pull you out of it because they're giving you inspiration or motivation, or it's just like having that human connection is just so important. So today we're going to unpack why human connection is so important, it feels so important. We're going to be looking at it as a like neurological standpoint as well, the brain chemistry, why tiny micro moments matter, and why our digital lives make connections a little bit trickier, and how to navigate that in such a digital world today. And at the end, we're also going to be diving into some practical tips that you can use right after this episode to build those connections, whether in the relationships you already have or to really get out there and start building them. Okay, so let's start with the simple biological connection to this all, because I do want to bring in research and science and not just woohoo stuff. So there is a chemical in your brain that is released, oxytocin, when you have those connections going on in your life. Okay, so when we connect through eye contact or a simple hug or touch or even a warm conversation, our brain releases oxytocin, which is the chemical in our brain that kind of tells us, like, well, tells your nervous system you're safe, you're good, you're not alone, you belong, you're protected. Like, it kind of just is like, you're good here. Like, don't need to fear. Okay. And so why that is so important is because it reduces that fear in our brain that is always looking out for fear of, like, we talked about the glacier brain a few episodes ago, and if you haven't, really start with those beginning episodes because it'll talk about the foundation of positive psychology and the mindset of our brains. It reduces that natural fear that we have, and then it increases trust and helps us open up more emotionally. There's also something called mirror neurons. And if you follow me on Her Happy Mind on Instagram, basically all the reels I post are about these neurons that are, it's like a video, a brain scan of like your neurons connecting. And I like to show those videos because, again, happiness isn't luck, it's science. And so by showing those brain videos, I think it's more encouraging and motivating for people to see that you can change, no matter what it is, and that your brain is always connecting. So making healthier connections, making kinder connections in your brain is so important. So these mirror neurons are my favorite little brain fact, because these special cells fire not only when you perform an action, but also when you see someone else do it. Okay, so if you ever were walking down the street and someone smiles at you, most of the time you kind of smile back and then like look down. Or if you see someone cry, you kind of feel that in your chest as well. So these mirror neurons are perfect because they are the neurons that are the ones teaching us about empathy and social understanding. So if you didn't have that, like, maybe you would be more on the psychopath train right now. But those neurons really kind of show us that, okay, we're human, we feel, we have emotions. And if it is that person crying, that allows us to, ask them, hey, like, do you want to talk? Like, what's up? Like, is everything okay? It gives us that kind of sense of relatability. And then when we do have those, like, of a stranger smiling at us, I get it all the time. It's like you instantly feel better, which I'll talk about soon, because there is science behind that weird, like, someone smiled at me. I don't know who it is, but it made me feel good. Or the cash paying and someone complimented my nails or my hair or my outfit, and you instantly feel better. So we'll get into that as well. But if you put those two things together, the oxytocin chemical that is released to make you feel more like connected and loved and less in fear, and the mirror neurons, that is why we respond, smile for smile, laugh to laugh, cry to cry. We bond over these emotions. And so if you're not connecting with people, if you tend to be behind a screen a lot in this digital world, or you just don't prioritize connecting, this can have an impact for sure on your brain. Of you're not connecting with people, you're not making these relationships, these deep relationships, because your brain is looking for that comfort and is looking for that community that we have been dying to have for centuries and centuries now. Like if you didn't have a community, if you didn't have a tribe, like, and you were on the outskirts or exiled, like you probably didn't last that long. And so we always are searching for relationships and community and networks that we feel big and loved and happy in. I want to get into why eye contact and touch matter when it's a person you know or a person that you don't know. So eye connection opens up this social circuitry in our brain that shows us that there's attention towards us and that there's someone that's caring towards us. So sometimes when you like meet someone, it's really important not to like look away. I know for me, I'm still working on that of like, okay, I have to look at someone in their eyes. But when I do look at someone's in their eyes, it's like, okay, like, yes, you do feel that connection. You do feel like you're on that one-on-one connection. And so your brain opens that. So they say that 2 seconds of genuine eye connection can make someone feel seen. Okay. If you're a parent or if you're a friend and you are just like on your phone, on your laptop, just looking away while they're having while they're trying to have a conversation with you, they're not going to feel seen or feel like they have heard. And that might hinder the relationship if it keeps on happening. So if you're a parent and your child is talking to you, just get off your phone and listen to the story. Even if it's like, I've heard it before, or, it's always the same story, like let them talk about it. And if you're a friend, don't always be on your phone either. Then why laughter is so important is because it's actually like a social glue. So when you laugh with someone, endorphins are released into your body and you literally feel closer. Okay. So even like a touch or a hug or a pat on the back, a friendly squeeze, or just like a high five also trigger oxytocin in your brain. And again, that lowers the stress hormone. So there's research out there of people, strangers giving high fives, strangers smiling, people just patting each other on the back, giving like an extra second hug. And all the research comes back in saying that, yeah, you feel better, like more joy, you feel more connected to that person, you feel more bonded in that way, and safer. And so if you're wondering why a hug from the right person can change your day, it's because it literally can. Your biology is doing all the heavy lifting. So go out there, make those good connections, because your body, your brain is literally waiting for that hug. So good chemicals, they're waiting for, a high five, they're waiting for smiles. So if you don't have those opportunities in your life, be that opportunity in your life to go and do that to other people, because your brain is looking out for those moments, and that could spark those little joyful moments in your life that you desperately are seeking. Or maybe you don't even know you're seeking, but your brain certainly is. Know that with the recent age of working from home, not everyone can have a daily connection or deep connection every single day. I understand that, but it doesn't have to be a friend or your partner. Like if your partner's on work or at work or on a work trip or is out, like it can be the barista, it can be the person at the concession stand, it can be at your grocery store, it can be literally anyone that just makes you feel good. Like a joke that you heard on a Zoom call as well, maybe you told the joke. So it's these small moments that your brain is looking for to reward itself, and boost your mood instantly. So if you are feeling like sluggish or not feeling good, I love Netflix special comedy shows. Like Something With Me in comedy. And there's research too of, cancer patients, like, I'll have to pull this one up, but there are recent not recent, but there is research out there of like cancer patients listening to like a comedy show a day or going to comedy shows or just laughing more in their day. And the research said that it helped them heal as well. I just think a good laugh is so important. Like I think it's a good goal to have like laugh once in your day minimum. I think that should be a goal of everyone's. Like, did you laugh today? Did you smile today? And if you didn't, go in the mirror, smile, and you will probably laugh back or smile right back, because it gives you that, again, that mirror neurons of you smiling, and then you see yourself smiling, so then you smile more. It's just like how I'm talking about it. I see myself smiling and then so I smile. It's like the whole thing, when someone yawns, you yawn. Neuron mirroring. Okay. So go out there, do it yourself, or find someone in your circle that's funny. I love having funny people in my circle. It's the best thing ever. So go out there and find those funny, happy people to have in your life. It can make your day livelier, but also lighter as well. It is a famous longitude study, so happened on a larger scale over a period of time, of the longest human happiness study that followed teenagers until they were old age. Okay, I think it was like 80 or in their 70s. So from teenagers to 70 or 80s. And after accounting all the basics like shelter and if they had health care, those were the biggest predictors of how long they lived. But the biggest predictor wasn't money or fame or the biggest house or the nicest car or the whatever it was. It was the quality of their relationships. And I know that there's videos circling around the internet as well, sharing this information as well. And I think as a practitioner or as anyone in this field, once we heard that, it was such a relief, because that's something we can work with. Okay, we could work with relationships, we can work with building stronger relationships, we can work with these things. But when someone's like, I think that buying a car will make me happy, or buying a house or more money or more fame, it's harder to work with, because are you grinding to have these things, or do you know in your gut that once you have this will make you happy? And most of the time it won't. It will make you, and I've done past episodes on this too, of like how much money you need in order to be fully happy, like what's kind of like that bar. But I think this study was really, really cool, because it shows that the predictor was quality relationships. It wasn't like I talked to this person online. It was these genuine conversations. They came over for supper. They know my kids. They, maybe presents are exchanged on birthdays. Maybe getting older, there's still phone calls once a week, or I send them postcards, or I send them letters. Like close friendships, strong family ties, and community. Those things predicted who stayed mentally and physically healthier over decades. I can end the episode right now, because connection isn't just like, oh, it's so nice and cozy and fun and like I'm in a relationship or whatever. Like, it's literally life-giving. For you to be mentally and physically fit long term, you need to have good friends. And I have friends all over the world. Okay, I've been to 35 countries. I have friends all over the world, and people are like, yeah, but Europeans are so much happy. I'm speaking about my friends in North America. Yeah, but like Europeans are just so much happier. I'm like, yeah, because they don't work to buy things. They work a normal job, most of them bartenders or waitresses, or work at hotels. And then on weekends or on Fridays, they're like, yeah, we take the weekend and we go with our friends, we go to the beach, we have picnics, like we just hang out. Like, it's not like a chasing culture. They're not chasing something. You just need to go to Italy and experience this, or go to like Greece, or you hit a certain point in your life, you realize like how important those friendships are, which I'm in this point in my life right now at 30 years old, where I'm like, yeah, friendships are so important. Friendships are key to get you out of like literally any mess. Like who would you call, if something were to happen? Like, these are important. And if you're like, oh no, I don't know who I would call if I was like in jail and I had to get like, someone to call me, or who I'd call for a $10 million at like 2 a.m., who would pick up? Like, ask yourself these questions. Who would I call if I needed a ride to the airport? Like, is there anyone in your life that would do that? And if you don't, this is an amazing wake up call for you to be like, I need closer friends. And there's websites out there, there's like events you can look on, like events near me, and it'll show you like community groups or sporting events, and you can go with friends and other people that just moved to the city. So especially with the digital age, I know it's kind of like a two-way sword, but go out there and check the internet and see in a legit website that has like legit events. It's not shady or sketchy, but find those friends, find those communities, because they are out there. I know when I moved to a few spots when I was new there in Australia or Taiwan or Dublin when I lived there, and Montreal, like all these different spots in my life, I had to get out there and find new friends. And so go and do that. Don't be shy. It has to get off your screen. You have to get off your screen, okay? You just do, okay? And meet those friends. Looking back to the digital age, if I can give you kind of like both way street, even though we know social media is like a highlight reel, right, of our lives, scrolling without interacting with people, without, having genuine conversations or talking to people or commenting on things, it makes us feel actually more alone. So you might feel alone like without on social media, and then you get on social media and like that just heightened it even more. That paradox of like you can call anyone. Like I can call my sister in Los Angeles right now and she would be able to pick up. Or when I was in Australia, like I can call my sister from in Los Angeles and she would pick up. So like thank God, because like if it was back to like the whole postcard or like, pigeon carriers, like that would take months for that to happen. But now it's like I can just pick up my phone, right? But our brain still interprets everything we see on social media as like social information, and it takes that in, it compares it, it makes us feel not as good, it makes our nervous system feel a little off as well. And so we kind of need to feel like inadequate or feelings of like not good enough. So we need to just time ourselves, okay? We need to time ourselves on how much screen time we have, time ourselves on how we're feeling on certain accounts. If you need to delete certain accounts, if you need to unfollow certain accounts, if you have to mute certain accounts because they don't make you feel good, then do that. And if you need an amazing account to follow, go follow my Her Happy Mind on Instagram, because there's certain accounts out there that are absolutely amazing. And do what makes you happy. What makes me happy with the accounts that I follow might be different from yours, but you just have to be aware of how it's making you feel, okay? I think that could be a little homework for you guys listening, is like go on your feed while you're scrolling, and if that account makes you like just unfollow or just mute it if you don't want that person to know that you unfollowed them for like bad juju or something. Like just mute them. There's an idea that I want to bring up. I just finished The Anxious Generation, and there was a part in that book that literally blew my socks off, because I was like, oh my God. This and like robots taking over the world is something that I think about a lot, and it's the sociogenetic influence, okay? I don't know if anyone has heard of the sociogenetic influence. It's a term of behaviors that have spread socially. I'm just looking at my notes because I'm like, it's so interesting. So through exposure and limitation, it's not genetics, okay? It's sociogenetic influence is by your environment that influences you. It's not what you were genetically born into, okay? So during the COVID pandemic, which was like 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now, doctors were noticing certain spikes in child behavior. And one of these spikes where parents were bringing them into the doctor's office and being like, my child is starting to have tics. Movement behaviors, like moving their body, it could be just shouting something, but they're having tics, and they weren't having that before. Doctor at first was like, okay, but then he started seeing more and more come in, or talking in the space, and there were similar tics that were happening on the online space, and they weren't like fake where it's like the child was just doing it. I think it's like the child was like mimicking this content creator of like just like going around in grocery stores shouting out a word and thought it was funny, but or just going into a classroom and shouting out a word or moving their whole body. But if you do that enough times, your body will start rewiring your brain to just do that, okay? It's like building a habit. If you smoke every single day, well, probably by the 30th day, you're just going to be like, I have to smoke a cigarette tomorrow, right? Or if you're on a healthy cleanse and you're eating well, after a certain amount of weeks, it just becomes habit. So for you, if you're keep on watching these content creators and they're doing specific things with their bodies, if they're doing specific things with just like shouting or trying to be funny or making these jokes, you're going to socially absorb that, and then it's going to be like a socio-genetic thing that you're adapting. So these kids did not have tics. They were just there was just a content creator at that time and they absorbed it. And that's how sociogenetic influence works. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting because it shows how powerful social exposure is. That same mechanism explains why anxiety, burnout, and other habits are rippling through our generations, are rippling through our societies and our communities right now, through our friend groups. It's literally because we are picking up on emotional patterns from people and the media, and we spend most of our time on, and then we think we have it. Tech can bridge that together, where it's bridging what we see and our mind together. And so if you are following people that are talking about depression, anxiety, and burnout, and you're not there, you're probably going to develop eventually if you keep watching it, if you keep watching their TikToks. I see this huge trend going on right now, and I mean, we could have a discussion in the comments if you'd like, but I see this huge trend right now. Oh, I feel so bad saying it, but I think people need to start being aware of what they're listening to is moms and post like partum. I'm not a mom, okay? So if you guys want to fight me in the comments because I'm not a mom, fine. But just hear me out with the socio genetic influence. I see a boom moms with post like partum. My friends now that are pregnant are getting in their heads that they're gonna have the worst postpartum. And I'm like, who are you following? Because like pregnancy is supposed to be like the greatest thing of all, right? Like it's supposed to be beautiful. Yes, you get sick and all these things, but that's just part of it, okay? But if you follow accounts where they're constantly like, it's the worst and da 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 da, and they're just like saying all this stuff, and then now you're pregnant, like that's gonna affect your brain. And I have another friend who's pregnant right now. And I don't know if she's gonna watch this episode, but so honest with me. I was like, "How are you doing?" She's like, "Good." And she's like, "You're right, right?" Like I deleted some of the counts that kind of not made me feel good, and I am having such a good pregnancy right now, and I realize that it's not just about what you do when you are pregnant, but like leading up to your pregnancy. And obviously, sometimes it's a surprise and you can't control when you're pregnant. But if you are planning for a pregnancy, or if you are planning with your husband or your partner, there's certain months leading up to that you should be taking care of your mental, your physical health, your what goes into your fridge, what you feed your mind, who you're listening to, what books are you reading, what songs are you listening to. Like you're building a baby. You're literally having a baby grown into your stomach. So maybe like think about what you're doing, right? Outside than just physically making a baby. Same girl is like, yeah, like my partner gives me the best meals. He knows that I'm carrying the baby, I'm making the baby, but his job is also to make this baby healthy and to make me healthy. So she was just like, yeah, like I've been having the best experience once I've realized that it's not just about like 9 months, I have to keep this thing alive, but it's like, what are you doing for your body as well? So when you do deliver the baby, you are in more of a mentally stronger place. I could have gave another example because I'm not pregnant, but I'm 30, so I have a lot of pregnant friends right now, and they are all saying similar things. Like, stop watching people because you don't even know if you will have that experience, but if you keep watching it, you probably will have that experience. As much as I love social media and people telling their stories, sometimes it does more harm than good, especially with content creators, especially with kids at such a young age. When they come into schools or into their homes back again, and it's just like a mess. Like truly and honestly, like educator, like I see how much social media affects children, and I'm in the anxious generation, the author. Like social media should really be 16 and over, and parents should have more control over that. We should find communities are also being like, okay, no, my kid's not getting a phone until grade 8, or they're going to be more socially independent, not with their cell phone. In those communities, there's communities out there, you just have to go and find them. And the increase in violence after video games, people have become more violent because that's what they watch. Play more video games, there might be a higher chance that you might be more violent, or you have less community, so you're more isolated, more lonely, less friends, and so that plays with your mental health. I think there'll be more and more research about how strong social media influence can have on our brains, and how harmful it is, because we're just assuming, oh, this has to be me because this is what I watch. Let's wrap it around here and go back to how like we can't neglect our relationships, whether that's a partner, whether you just had a baby and now you're feeling like all your attention is on the child and not the attention is on your partner. And so scheduling in those connection days, scheduling in date nights once a month, or scheduling a babysitter once a month, or if you live close to your grandparents, mother-in-law, or to your sister-in-law, or to whoever, maybe they could take them once a week or once a month or once every 2 months, but like have something in your calendar that is still nurturing that relationship even with a child. And if you're someone that is younger adult, maybe doesn't have a child yet, like don't neglect those relationships when you do have get a boyfriend or you do a hard time in your life. Like I think that's a whole what we have to work on as human beings is active listening. I think active listening is so important, and it's not always about me, but like we, and like let you speak and then okay, now it's my turn and let me talk about it. It's not about bicker backering or not listening or not understanding, but having that open conversation. That active listening really rebuilds that emotional safety that love could then continue to grow. Your relationships just feel like they're just not going anywhere. Start with active listening. I love planning things with my girlfriends. Like I think it's so important to have events with your girlfriends because we all get busy in our life. We all have different things going in our life. So having it's like every Thursday of the month, every first Thursday of the month, we are talking, or every last Friday of the month, we are going out, like having that in your schedule. I'll wrap up that I'd like to make this more practical. Few small things that you can start doing today is send one thinking of you message to someone, like a quick text to re-spark a conversation. Maybe you haven't talked in a while. Maybe you got like a Facebook or Instagram message to them. Just be like, hey, thinking of you. And do 2 micro connections a day. Smile at someone, compliment someone at the cash, go out of your way when you talk to someone, get them a gentle pat on the back or squeeze someone. So 2 little micro connections. Third one is having one phone free conversation where there's not a phone in the room. You don't have your Apple Watch, nothing is distracting you, but you're totally present with that person. When was the last time you had a conversation with someone without being buzzed or binged or vibrated, whatever? Take it somewhere else for that conversation. Another thing you can do, the fourth thing, curate your feed. Go and delete, unfollow, mute people that are not making you feel good. Number 5, if you're a partner or in a relationship right now, go and mark on your calendar a time to have conversations and a connection date. And if you had a moment of a special connection, or if there was something like this that happened in your life, whether it was like a random smile or a cashier conversation, and it really changed your kind of outlook or your mood of the day, put it in the chat, because I would love to have these real life testimonies that are sharing that it's not just me speaking this into you guys, but it's actually very true. I'd love to have that comment section open to these things. And if there's any questions, if you're like, how do I have this conversation with someone? How do I bring it up? Put in the chat. I read them all, and I would love to dive deeper into that with you. And so that's the end of today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe. Please like my video. Please share with someone that you think might need to hear this. And just remember, stay present, stay mindful, stay happy, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.